Hey, I'm your host, Wes.
And I'm your host, Scott.
Come on in and grab a seat.
Because you're hanging with us at the Barbershop.
What are you supposed to do?
Well, this is the Barbershop. We don't talk about anything. But we will, because talking about nothing is talking about anything.
Okay.
So I think Wes found an article that was very relevant today.
Oh, I found a couple.
Yeah, that somebody got pulled over in Lindsay speeding and conducting a Zoom meeting from the front seat of his car.
I did hear about it.
I did not hear about this.
I'm actually, I'm looking at the ticket actually right now. It's quite interesting. They have a screenshot of the ticket. Turns out...
$295 for speeding.
Yeah, so it's...
$615 for a screen, a display visible to driver.
Yes, display screen visible to driver. So
which...
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
A whopping $910 fine.
And how many points?
You know what? I don't know. The ticket doesn't actually say.
There should be points for that.
Section 78.1 of the Highway Traffic Act. Total payable $615. Set fine of $500. So interesting.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that kind of I saw that article and I thought, oh, there's a good one we can talk about. We can kind of talk about driving and not driving and bad driving and worse driving and not driving at all. Because I thought we've all had some interesting experiences with that.
Yeah, it's super interesting that I just don't understand in cars nowadays and the huge screens that are on the front of the car and what you can put through on the screens on the car. Like, to me, you could probably have the car run the Zoom meeting.
Oh, I thought you just peeled off the OnStar right off your car and brought it in. Like, I mean, they're the size of your iPad these days.
Right, right.
They're huge.
It's my bad eyes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because I mean, you look at some of these displays on cars now, and they're massive, and I'm sure some of them will play multimedia, and I'm sure I know you can Bluetooth link. So yeah, it's just that question of when they start being able to they can play video now.
Yeah.
It won't be long before you could do a Zoom call.
I suppose on some level that's true, but I don't think the laws will get there anytime soon to support the technology. Clearly, the technology is well ahead of the law.
Yes. Well, isn't it
or
always
beside the law?
Isn't I think a lot of times, right, is things get changed and things get passed because people are taking advantage of loopholes and disclosure that it isn't in place yet, right? So
what was the one I saw a week ago, 2 weeks ago? Somebody in the States got pulled over because they were having a nap while their Tesla was on autopilot. Which
apparently is a thing, and apparently it gets you exactly where you need to be. It's super safe.
Is it so advanced though that it knows enough to get off the highway and like I thought it was just like when I think of autopilot, I think of these like more conventional cars that have the adaptive cruise and the lane keeping technology.
No, it's more than that.
Is it really?
There's I mean, I know you're not a go on to Pornhub kind of guy, but if you go on and search Tesla on Pornhub, there is at least a page of people having sex in Teslas while it's on.
While the cars are
correct.
Oh my Lord!
It's like a pickup line. Hey, you wanna while my car drives us somewhere?
There you go. Something to look
And
up.
they're just amazed.
I'm amazed at hearing you say that.
Well, we have technology. I could bring it up for you from a completely
not save screen.
Not in my browser.
Your browser, my browser. It's all good. That's why you go incognito, ladies.
Oh. Yeah. You get a headphone jack on that thing?
We know.
Yeah, I do.
You want to plug in?
We could. Let me see if I can find it here for you.
Let's see how risque this is.
Oh, look, it's shaded like I've searched for it before.
Gee, before we get going too far, I guess we should say, hey, welcome to Hangin at the Barbershop. Back for another round with the ladies.
Hello.
Hey girls.
Hello. Thanks for coming out and playing tonight. Looks
Yeah.
like we're off to a fun start.
An interesting one, yes.
All right. Everybody got a beverage?
Yes.
We do.
What are we on tonight?
Red wine for me.
I'm doing a peach mango sangria.
Num, 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 num. And it's rum on Scott.
Ahoy, Captain.
Compliments of. Thank you, sir.
Sailor Jerry.
That's right. Hoy, hoy.
So, some of the titles here. Tinder date blanks me in my Tesla on autopilot.
Oh, wow.
Tesla autopilot Uber driver blanks in my friend. Tinder date caught me blanking in a Tesla on autopilot.
Funny, I've never heard any of these questions on the match game.
Yeah.
Oh, he can't even read that one.
He's totally like in his own head now.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to find the ones I can talk about, right?
Ah,
Some of them
gotcha,
are not
gotcha.
overly friendly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 11 on that search. Just searching Tesla.
Does Elon Musk sit at home doing what we're doing right now?
Yes.
Maybe him and Grimes
Wanting to know what kind of exposure he's getting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
He
funny.
probably started it.
It's entirely possible. Is he married? Is he married?
He is. He married Canadian recording artist Grimes.
Grimes. Do I know this person? Wait a minute. You're spoiling the show here.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Here. You better...
Actually, I'd actually have to if you want to pause the show,
yeah.
I got to get my my swaggle.
We can do that.
All right.
Little horn swaggle. Oh, wait a minute. That's not what we're talking about. Through the magic of editing, we'll be right back.
Hey, so I got my adapter plugged in, and I vetted a few seconds of Tinder date caught me blanking in a Tesla on autopilot. So there's a few seconds at the start that kind of give you the idea of what's going on, and then I just can't play the rest. But yeah, I'll give you a quick little synopsis here.
Hot tamales.
Here, this will be more enjoyable if I lay it flat
So I found Tesla Taylor
and share it with everybody.
And,
Ooh,
actually
Tesla
checking it
Taylor
out
on
right
Tinder.
now.
It's very, what's the word? It's onomatopoeia?
Sure.
Or is it alliteration? It's one of those two.
It's doesn't matter, I don't think.
So just pulls up. She comes right to him because she knows it's a Tesla.
Hey, nice to meet you.
She's like 5 years old.
Wow, you're way prettier in person. How's your day going?
I feel like no one's being safe.
Where's her mask? Like, that's dangerous.
We don't know when this was recorded, but no one's wearing a seatbelt.
No seatbelts.
But she really likes his Tesla.
It's a P100D Model S.
Oh, Model S.
You not wearing a bra?
Like, is this a thing? This is crazy.
I have no idea. Apparently it is. Somebody made a video.
So she's now slumming it because she's never had intercourse in anything but a Model X, which I think is the high-end version of Tesla. But yeah, so that continues to progress to them going onto the highway
Oh, boy.
and her making herself a little bit more comfortable.
That's code for getting naked, isn't
Getting naked. Not that she has much of a top on. Poor girl.
Well, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, a sheath of a top. And right progresses to the very porn formula. So it's like start with the hand job, followed up by the blow job, and then followed by some intercourse. And
I feel like
boy.
she's doing all the work. I don't really. It should.
The car's doing all the work.
yeah, keeping them safe. We didn't want. I mean, I can leave this on play and we'll take the volume off, Kim, and you can let me know if this young man steps his game up and helps her out at all. But eventually, right, the car gets put on autopilot, and I think they do a little reverse cowgirl and a little bit of cowgirl and hands free, and there is no accident on the highway. And it does look like there's other vehicles
Oh wow.
on the road.
So the point being that the autopilot really is that advanced.
I guess you're trusting your life.
Well, apparently they are.
Yeah.
Like, you got to wonder, like, are they... and this has nothing to do with the car and all about the performers. I mean, if they're, making this content for a film company, like what do they have insurance? It's like in the movie industry when the
we want everyone to be safe.
Sure, and like they'll certain insurers will just not let their stars do certain stunts because it's too expensive.
Could
right?
you imagine if this car was on a trailer?
Yeah.
We're just being led to believe it's on autopilot, and like right some highway in LA, there's this car on top of a trailer and they're just banging in the back. And the poor guy driving is looking in the rearview mirror like, holy smokes, you're really going.
Always watch the steering wheel. If the steering wheel doesn't move, it's fake.
Yeah, well, this is the problem is, how much wiggle is it when if you're on a straight stretch of the highway and the car's got adaptive
this is
lane
what
control.
Yeah, and I think that's where I was kind of going with it. Like I know like a lot of these cars now have that lane keeping technology where it'll keep you in your lane, and now the cars are, what's the commercial I saw recently? They're now braking for
braking
you. Yeah.
And adjusting. Nissan for sure are Michelle's sister, my sister-in-law, they have a Nissan, and it has the scanners. So you just set the cruise control.
Yeah.
And it goes. And if you suddenly approach somebody a little too fast, it revs down the cruise control and resets it to who's in front. So it
That's impressive.
won't pass anybody, but it won't let you drive 120 through some car that's doing 90.
I think the most advanced cruise control I ever operated was on the delivery van when I worked for the dealership. And it was pretty cool because it wouldn't brake, but it would gear down in order to, like, if you're going down a hill, it would gear down to try and keep you at the
I
speed
like
that you were
that.
set
That's
for.
always, I always feel bad because like right now I think in our current vehicle selection, everything's still
old fashioned
you,
fuel or coast.
Yeah, lets you pick up that that speed going down a hill. So all of a sudden, if you had the cruise set at 90, it's not hard to be at 110 at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, same with our truck.
Yeah. And I've had a few vehicles that do that. They gear you down to try to keep you at the 90 or whatever you've got it set at. But currently we do not. And currently that means we drive too fast.
Wow.
I do not.
You do, but you drive with control and care, which is important. I think that's in Harmony's
Flow of traffic.
Harmony's episode. We talked about maximum speeds.
Oh, we did.
reached.
Yes, yeah.
And we all agreed that it was foolish to drive fast speeds, and we were all younger when we'd done it.
Yeah.
I think Michelle's max speed has probably been done in her adult life.
I don't know. She's
Maybe?
looking sideways at me.
Super guilty. She is super guilty.
Probably, yeah.
Come on, we've told all. What about you?
If I'm going that fast, I'm not looking at the speedometer. Sorry.
Ah.
Why
Okay,
would you?
to your
Exactly.
recollection,
To my recollection.
on public roads, you behind the wheel, not as a passenger. How fast?
Oh, I'm never a passenger.
Okay, well,
Probably 200.
What?
yeah, that's fast.
Right.
For public roads, that's fast.
Holy
I mean,
crap.
too, right? We've had.
Hey there, race champ. What are you talking about?
On public roads, I've never done 200.
Yeah, but I was just making a joke because you won that race and you beat all the boys.
I did.
You
I
did.
But that was like on a racetrack.
That's true.
That's different.
So what about you then?
On like public roads, like
Sure.
100, 110.
Yeah, as soon as you say 100, that's a lie. I've followed you enough to know that you drive more than 100 when we first got together.
I feel like that's fake news.
One, I'm not a news outlet. Two, it's not fake.
I feel it's fake media.
Wow.
So who for you guys?
Note to self, banned from the show.
Right. Oh, you can come on to my episodes,
Thank
Kim.
you.
You're welcome.
But not from my heart. Apparently it's not making up for it.
No.
So 400 series highways.
Yeah.
Now, I think in my time, it traditionally, when we've gone with you, you've been the driver, Wes, but do you drive the 400 series?
Actually, that's where I learned to drive.
She's
Right.
a
Because
champ.
I was already living
There. Yeah.
So I was on my own since 16, right?
Yeah. So current, like in this iteration of the Kim and West show, who drives on 400 series?
Well, when we're together, he drives all the time.
Right. You've regulated? No.
Regularly.
Regularly, he does it.
He hogs it.
Yeah. Do you know the word I'm trying to say?
I do know the word.
Well, tell me. Correct me. Fill me in. Regulate? What's the word?
Use it in a sentence.
Delegate.
Delegate.
Oh.
No, I don't think it's delegate. You don't delegate, you regulate.
No.
No, it's like,
No.
I'm
The
going to
usual driver.
Yeah. You're deferring to
That's
Wes's
right.
driving.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm
Conceding.
sure. Yeah, I feel it starts with an R. I'm going to Google it later and I'll share my wordy knowledge with you.
We were just on the 400. We were on 400 series highways
A couple times.
this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this week we were down to.
If I'm driving them, easily 120.
So there you go. So all of a sudden you're 100, 110.
Well, I'm talking like normal public roads.
Oh, so like
I would.
Okay,
80.
that was on a 400 series highway.
Yes, yeah.
I just want to
Yeah.
say.
Oh,
this
yeah.
was
Yeah,
not
because that's why I'm
on-
like, what?
Yeah, some days that feels like flow of traffic. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. It's
I-
slowly gotten faster and faster.
Mm-hmm.
Many years ago, I was a passenger in a car. It was a business vehicle, so I won't say the business because it was really would look bizarre going down the highway that fast. But went to do a call.
Were you in a Hearst? Yes, I
I
was
can-
right.
I can neither
Yeah.
confirm nor deny that.
Fuck, I'm good.
I was not driving though, but we were just coming out of Kingston. We were on our way back to.
Nobody was pulling
Back
that
up here.
wagon of death over,
But
eh?
honestly, like you're going with the flow of traffic, and the flow of traffic that day was a solid $150.
Yep.
And
That's
that's what
crazy.
we were doing. Yeah.
And I think too, right? Depending on the vehicle that you're driving, its stability and your comfort, it's easy to get to those speeds on the 400 series now.
I look back at those cars from that era, and all I think of is like 1980s land yacht, and I'm going like, what the hell were we thinking?
Right.
And I'm the first one to say like, we went to school with a bunch of gearheads who were big muscle car type of guys, right? But I'm telling you, I will take technology over horsepower any day.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
And
Like,
comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I think about these big old, Caprice Classic, Grand Marquis, Victoria LTD land yachts, and I'm like, these things they were built for comfort. They weren't built for speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting, right? So, on 80 highways, you're 100, 110.
Yeah, but I think I'm the age I am now. Like
Yeah.
100 is even like I've been going more
Yeah.
like even slower, like 90 maybe.
Right. I'm a firm believer in setting the cruise at
Yeah.
90 and enjoying that and not really concentrating a whole lot on
Mhm.
that. You're a cruise user,
Yeah.
Kim? Wes?
Long trips, yes, and especially if I'm out of my home area where I don't know the roads as much, or the where I anticipate that stops are going to be, or where officers of the law are going to be sitting, I will definitely use it to keep myself in check. Because like you say, it's easy enough to, it sounds stupid. My dad made that excuse one night trying to get home when we got pulled over. He's like, I was just going with the music. But you know how easy it is to actually,
It
you know,
is.
you turn the radio up and a good song comes on, and before you know it, oh boy.
It's super easy.
But
And-
yeah,
And Michelle, you don't use cruise?
I don't use cruise. No.
You like to be in control.
I do have control issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, you have the flow. I feel like, right, it's also too how you sit in the seat in your car, and if you're comfortable, and do you
Mhm.
like your leg at that angle, or you can
Yeah.
lock it into the console or whatever it is, right? Speeding tickets.
yes.
Several?
Currently none. I have actually a clear abstract, but
right. So that means within the last
3 years.
3
I think
years?
they drop off after
3 or 5, yeah.
3.
3?
I've had 2, and they were
In
they
your
were
life.
2 in my life, and I should have had probably a couple of more. But again, in a past life when I wore a uniform, I got some sympathies were extended and courtesies, and keep it down. And
Yep.
But by the letter of the law, I was probably entitled to half a dozen, but I
Right.
went away with 2.
2.
Yeah.
Kimberly?
Well, I didn't have a uniform, but I have boobs.
So you've gotten away.
It's even better
I
than a
have.
uniform.
So have you ever had a ticket?
Yes.
Wait,
maybe in my life, maybe 2. Maybe.
2.
Yeah, not very.
That's not bad.
You know what's
Yeah.
better than boobs? Boobs in a uniform.
Well, there you go.
Boobs busting out of uniform?
Oh, this is starting to sound like dress up.
No, we're not talking about that.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And Michelle, I know the answer, but would you like to tell us how many you've had?
I've had none.
How many times
Well
have you been?
done.
How many times have you been pulled over by police?
Never.
Also 0.
But you've been through lots of
I've been through lots of rides,
rides.
but I only go through a ride when I am pregnant or driving a school bus.
So
So both times,
Did I tell you my ride
completely
story?
ridiculous time to pull somebody over.
Wow.
you've
that's
been
crazy.
drinking? Not in the last 9 months.
Yeah, really. I'm not sure if I told this one before. I got a good ride story.
Yeah.
It actually happened here in town.
Oh.
So many moons ago, back in the 1990s, I was driving my girlfriend's car, and I was alone, and I came through the ride check just over by the lumberyard. And I thought nothing of it, because I'm literally have nothing in me but coffee and pop. So, window down, lights on like I normally do. And I'm the type of guy, like Kim can tell you, like at nighttime, if there's a ride check, the first thing I do is I turn the interior light on and I put the window down. I'm going to make it easy for them. And
Right.
I just want to get through it. So I'm going through my routine, and the officer, they do the lean in like they normally do. And, hey, where are you coming from? Oh, I'm coming from Fenland Falls. Where are you going? I'm going back to my apartment. Live with my girlfriend. Okay. Where is that? I'm like, it's just around the corner on Main Street. And next thing you know, can you pull the car over? I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. So I pull over, and they're like, where does your girlfriend live? And I gave them the address. It was a Main Street address. And they're like, oh. So they come back to the car, and they tell me, hey, man, when you get home, remind your girlfriend that she has 6 days to legally change her address. And I'm like,
So the car was not registered.
well, here's the thing. She was really upset about that, too, that I had gone through, and not that I had a choice. I mean,
Yeah.
the last thing you want to do if you see a ride check is
Is a
actually turn
U-turn?
around. Don't
Yeah.
do that. That's one way to get yourself pulled over very quickly. And that's when you tell them you're the decoy for everybody else. Anyway, I get home and I tell her, I'm like, I went to the ride check, and I'm like, they gave me shit because you didn't change your address. And she kind of gave me a little more shit after that. I'm like, why the fuck I didn't really have a choice. So she's originally from like Northern Ontario. And I don't know what the laws are like now, but there was a time when Northern residents did not pay for their plate renewal.
Oh.
So rather than change addresses, which is fine, like when you're a college student, why wouldn't you leave your address as your parents' place, right? You're just a college student. She had lived here in town for like a couple of years and had just never changed her address, kept her driver's license and her ownership and all that stuff to her parents' house. Well, that ended that, and she was upset.
There you go.
Pay for a plate.
Oh, wow.
That's my goofy ride story.
There you go.
Yeah.
I have one just as good as that.
Cool.
Right before we were having Georgia, I was doing like a home party.
Yep.
So I had one, and it was up past Gallert somewhere. So I'm coming home. My van's loaded. And so, of course, they like to do the ride there on that S bend on County Road 8, like halfway between. So, of course, I pull into my driveway and I back up to the garage, open the garage door, and I'm unloading my crap into the garage. Next thing I know, there's this person walks up behind me. He goes like, excuse me, ma'am. I jumped. Well, of course, I'm pregnant. I screamed at him. And he's like, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm unloading my van. Well, you didn't go through the ride. I said, well, my driveway's before the ride. Why would I go through the ride?
That's right.
Yeah.
Are you avoiding the ride? And by this time, the other cops have come to the driveway.
Right.
And I'm like,
You're unloading your vehicle.
I'm literally unloading my vehicle. They're like, you need to come out of your garage. I'm like, there's 3 of you. There's 1 of me. Not happening.
Yeah.
So he said, the next thing you know, all the flashlights come out. And then finally the female cop comes on. And she's like, she tells them to leave and that, because obviously I'm 7 months pregnant at this time. I can't hide it.
Right.
Yeah. So I didn't even get to the ride.
That's crazy.
But they came to the house to
But
tell me.
it is that nuance of all of a sudden they can see your headlights and you turn into the first house that's available.
But I backed in. It's not like I shut the car off. And
yeah,
I could
but
see if I was sitting there.
They're
right?
suspicious, right? That's always, it's not.
But like, I'm loading stuff into the garage. I'm not taking stuff out of our garage.
Right.
Well, that's like I say, like the whole joke about don't turn around, and that secondhand story, not my story, but from a common friend or acquaintance that we know, like when the Victoria County Feed Company was still open, and it was it was the only place to drink in town,
right?
And you mean you get pissed up and you'd go home and, maybe you were responsible, but you knew half a dozen people or more that weren't. And so our common acquaintance leaves and makes it as far as, I don't even know what the street is, that first street there by the small engine place, or the next one up by the road down to Swedfern. Sees the ride check further up where the mini golf used to be and thinks, oh my God, there's a bunch of guys that are about to leave the bar and they're trashed. So he turns around to go back to tell them that there's a ride check there. And of course, he's like sober as a judge.
Right.
And they stop him and, what were you doing? And, and of course now he's going to make up some BS excuse because he's like, I can't tell them that.
Forgot my wallet.
Can't tell them I'm going back to warn them. You know what I mean? But yeah, so apparently if you turn around before, as you say, if you turn around, or in your case, Michelle, back into your own driveway in front of a ride check, they get a little rangy about that.
Yeah. So I've had three speeding tickets. 4?
Good ones.
One in college.
Cool.
One coming home from a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
One coming out of Mount Pleasant.
Was the one coming home from the wedding because you had to poop?
No, man. It just, right? I think we just gotten married that summer ourselves. We drove a little Saturn coupe.
Sure.
No cruise control.
Boo.
And just kind of flow of traffic across. The QE was fast.
Yep.
The 401 was fast. The 115 was fast. And we're like, man, we're making awesome time. I'm like, yeah, I can't seem to keep my foot off the frickin' floor.
Yeah.
And I think I'd asked Michelle like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, do you want to drive? And she's like, no, you're doing fine. Slow down. So I think
you got it, man.
We're on the second or third big hill on the 35 after Manverse.
Sure, yeah.
And come over that hill, start coming down, and the cop's at the bottom, and he clocks me at, I don't even know, 120 and an 80. And
yep, that's plenty fast enough.
Yeah, and over I go, and all those things, and are you in a rush, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, man, just coming home, and
I was going with the radio.
Yeah, and just couldn't get my foot up off the, right? I said, you got me cresting the hill, I sped up to go up the hill, and then you got me coming down the hill. Over, yeah, and it's like, I said, that's a great spot for you to be set up, because you're going to get lots of people. And he kind of wasn't very happy with that.
No.
So got my ticket, and that was the first time I realized if you go and see a
JP?
Yeah. They will lower your ticket to almost peanuts and give you lots of time to pay it.
They'll also, another common acquaintance of us, God rest her soul, she's no longer with us, did that, and full waterworks, and of course they make you do it, they record it. So there's there's a recording of our past friend. I'm a poor college student.
There is something to be said about it, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
But and I mean, right, it's letter of the law. I mean, all the times I've been pulled over.
Yep.
For sure I was speeding, and you caught you.
They generally don't pull you over for nothing.
Nope. Well, that's not true.
No.
Not anymore, it isn't.
And I apologize to my friend that's an RCMP officer.
They don't have any jurisdiction in this province.
And I apologize to
traffic, anyway.
People I know that are police officers in other jurisdictions. But you know what? Some of your coworkers are just dicks. Same probably summer that we were married.
Shout out to my buddy Dave, you fucking meathead.
Yeah. And coming home from Lindsay, picked up a cop right outside of Lindsay before the jail.
Yep.
And followed me all the way to...
Was it 24?
No, it wasn't quite. Just past the bend.
Before, Pleasant Point?
Before Beatty's Road. That road.
Oh, that's a long way.
It is. Followed me to the other side of Dunsford.
That was the OPP.
Yeah, it had to be, because he wouldn't have had jurisdiction if it was a Lindsay cop.
I've seen Lindsay have guys pulled over as far out as the alpaca farm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But followed me, and I'm like, right, same car, no cruise control,
sure.
raining.
No, I think you were driving that little blue Kia.
No, because it was your car. Well, I guess the Kia was your car.
My car.
I'm sure it was the Saturn. So they finally pulled me over, and he's got some little douchebag ride-along kid.
Oh, so now he's got to make a point.
Yeah, so he comes up and he's
Oh,
like,
boy.
He's
and
Mr. Tough
right,
Guy.
never. I said, "Is there a problem?" And I said, "I don't think I was speeding." And the other kid's like looking in my other window, and I'm like, "What's his problem?" And they're like, "Oh, the vehicle's registered to a woman," and I'm like, "Yeah, my wife."
Oh my god.
Oh. And then check out the registration and my license, and apparently I belonged to Michelle, so I was allowed to continue to drive her car.
So I
Oh,
was
boy.
pregnant at this time. So I was not the most rational person.
Mm-hmm.
I drove to Lindsay. I went into the detachment and I asked to speak to whoever was at the top.
Oh wow.
That they
I wanted to know.
harassed their little husband, Scotty.
I was like, why? Like, what did he have to prove?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's impressive that you went in there.
I was really not a rational person while pregnant. So
But I mean, I feel like there's all kinds of times. I had a lovely conversation here in Bob Cajun at just before the lights. And I feel like everybody I knew drove by that night. I got
Of
so
course.
many texts, and all because I had a headlight out. And they just wanted to make sure everything was okay. And, I totally appreciate it. And I'm like, I absolutely know that the headlight's out and it's, literally going in on Monday.
Right.
Hand on a Bible. And then he starts getting into all the other things he needs to ask for. And I'm like, well, funny story. My kid had the car and he got pulled over. And I know the insurance is in here somewhere, but I just can't seem to find where he put it. And he's like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like totally legit." And I said, "Obviously you can run the car's insured."
Right. They can check.
That totally shows up. And then we start talking about my license, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's it's not in good shape." And he's like, "Well, there's issues with that I can't read your license." I'm like, "Yeah. I said I just haven't got in to renew it yet." And he's like, "Well, if you haven't renewed your license, should I even look at the front license plate?" I'm like, "Oh, that's a funny story too."
Oh,
Because
boy.
I said the sticker's right here. And
You held it up.
I did. Because right when I was rummaging for the insurance, and he's like, "Why isn't that on your license plate?" And I said, "Well, I'm waiting to get a new license plate because it's
Yeah.
peeling, and I didn't want to put it on and have the thing was like
Of course.
1% blue and white paint left, and
Yeah.
the rest was back down to tin." And I said I didn't want to, right? And of course, the top left corner still had paint on it, and I was like, I'm not going to put it there to have it flake off,
Right.
and then be like, "Where's your sticker?" And I'm like, "Oh, I stuck it on there, so I thought it was better in my car." And he's like, "Well, it actually isn't." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" And and again, same
Boy, are
thing.
you ever cooking up the perfect storm.
Yeah, and really good guy.
I had
And-
like 18 texts. Your husband's pulled over at the top of town.
Yeah, and same as you, where you've had some professional courtesy
boy.
passed to you.
Yep.
He asks if I volunteer on the fire department. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I do. Here in town." And he's like, "At the hall there, right at Duke Street." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm the guy in charge." He's like, "You're in charge there
Oh, boy.
at the time?" And I'm like, yeah. And he kind of shook his head. And he's like, "And you live on Duke Street?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Why don't you go the fuck home then?" I'm like, right away. And I mean, I got out of the cab and I had a nice chat with him. I was walking up and down the side of the car with him. I'm like, "Yeah, look
Oh,
at the
yeah,
license
sure,
plate.
sure.
What a piece of shit it is." And he's like, and I'm like, "I can get out of the vehicle." He's like, "If you need to." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's part of the story." And I'm like, right, showing him the license plate.
Also, this is Canada.
right. But I always think it's important to ask.
You're probably safer that way.
Yeah. Why are you getting out of the vehicle? Yeah. So.
Well, my little our road trip doesn't even it kind of doesn't really compare to that. It's funny though. We had a similar experience earlier this year when we did our road trip to Kingston, and we were on our way home. Right.
That guy was.
I think though,
He
he
had to
was
fill a
he was
quota,
looking for
or
stuff. So
he was just envious that he didn't have a little sports car
I
himself.
mean, he had already had somebody pulled over, so he was already Like he already had his lights on. Like he was still doing paperwork when we went by him and pulled out and pulled us over immediately.
But you weren't speeding or anything.
No, I was literally doing exactly 100 on the 401 and pulls me over and he's like, where are you going? I'm going home. Where's home? Bob Cajun. Had anything to drink today? No. Where are you coming from? Kingston. What were you doing there? Weekend away. It's my wife, and then he's like, your plate cover, it's illegal. And I'm like, okay. And I can't really argue with him because, it's one of those ones that's written on the books where like there's no scientific, value given in the Highway Traffic Act, to determine whether it's, too dark or obstructive. But he was like super dramatic, like acting like, oh my God, like William Shatner, the Oscar goes to,
right, about
how dark my smoked plate cover was on the FRS. I can't argue with him. I'm just like, okay, like I'll deal with it later. Got a screwdriver, I'll take it off right now.
Right now, yeah.
And then he's like, where's your front plate? Because I took it through a car wash.
Yes.
And I had one of those offset plate mounts where you attach it to the tow hook.
So you start telling him that story.
So I'm like, yeah. He's like, where's your front plate? I'm like, it's right here in the window. And he's like, oh, it looks cooler up there, doesn't it? And I'm like, no, I took the car through a car wash and it snapped off. So then he goes and he looks again, doesn't
really
see
closely.
him, doesn't see the mount, completely oblivious that there's a
nipple
3-inch threaded like lug sticking out of the bumper. He's like, where was it mounted? I'm like, on the rod sticking out of the bumper. Oh, like he didn't believe me that it had happened. It did happen, but it was like 2 years previously.
Yeah, it doesn't need to know.
No, of course not. And then, in my own
the threats came.
Well, and then in my own concoction of the perfect storm, let me see your driver's license, your ownership and insurance. Okay, so pull out. Here's my license. Here's the ownership. Look at the insurance card. And I'm like, oh, fuck. So I look at him. I'm like, listen, the car is insured. This is not the current slip.
Yep.
So he's like, okay. So he takes it and he goes back. He comes back and he's like, as Kim was saying, now here come the idle threats about how, I used to work at that detachment and I still have friends that work at the detachment, the Kawartha Lakes detachment, and they'll be looking for you.
We know where you live.
Yeah.
And they'll be driving by and that plate cover better be off and
whatever.
Like he laid it on super set.
Oh, did he ever?
He did
though?
it a few times.
And just to turn the last screw, as he was getting ready to let me go, he stops, turns back and says, oh, Wes, how's your muffler? I have an aftermarket muffler. I changed the header on the car, and I just looked at him and said, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
It just happens to be what it is. He's looking for the noise complaint, right? Another one where there's no value placed on it. It's literally officer discretion. So I'm like, well, that's just fucking perfect. So then I'm like,
ticket though.
No, and I mean, I knew as soon as he pulled out, and I know that the car can be loud, but I'm also a firm believer of just because it can be loud doesn't mean you to drive it loud. You can drive like a normal human being and not have it, bang bang going down the road. Like that guy,
yeah.
Like that guy. I hope we get that on the recording. But anyway, so as we're coming over the hill, like I did not, when he pulled out, I'm like, I did not gear down. I just like dumped the clutch in to get the RPMs down as low as they would go, and I just braked to pull over. And then as we're pulling away, and I'm trying to like not to wind the gears out because that's when it, gets loud. And I thought, oh, he's going to fucking pull us over again. But no, he didn't.
I thought you were going to say he was like a legit guy and thanked you for your service.
Not at all. Didn't care. Well, there was none of that came up.
Yeah, but you've got...
I do have a veteran plate on the car.
Yeah. On it, right?
Yeah, nope, none of that.
Nothing like that.
No, and I mean, you pull a guy over in a car like that and you see the big beard on me and it's like, oh, I'm a pretty young veteran. So I think there's that aspect of it too, where...
It's daddy's car.
And we're also close enough to the base where
right.
they just don't care.
No, good point. Good point,
yeah.
Right? It doesn't, because all of a sudden you're a dime a dozen through Kingston.
Oh,
and
for
Trenton,
sure.
Right? Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, you're just another guy. But I mean, like I said to Kim, he was just doing his job, even if he was a bit of a feminine cleanser product.
But yeah, and as you say, right, it's not always their fault.
It's always their fault. They don't have to do anything. Wow, and suddenly I'm loud again. Oh, I see. You just unplugged. Right? Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that funny?
No, it's weird.
So yeah, just really echoey, right? All of a sudden, because you pick up we've only been hearing it through one ear.
Yeah, there's something going on tonight. I don't know why it's coming in on the left, but it's not coming in as loud. So,
And then you know what else I find is cops and MTO officers.
Fortunately for me, I've never had to deal with those. I can remember people I know who are in the trucking industry refer to them as the Green Hornets. Never had to deal with them. So,
Michelle,
Yes,
you've dealt with them.
I have dealt with the MTO lots.
And they're nice people?
Actually, I've never had a problem with them.
But because it's because it's you.
That's because it's me.
And
yes.
you're in control of your vehicle.
Well, no, because they stop by the schools normally once or twice a year to check all the buses.
right at the school.
Yeah. And
they couldn't come to the yard and do that.
Well, no, because most people take their buses home.
Oh, fair enough.
So they'd stop, and in the morning they'd be there, and you'd have your checks.
Makes sense.
When the school in town here was under construction, they did go up to the shop, and then the 1 year, because they kind of do it in a week, so they'll do this whole area in a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I just happened to be supplying buses, so I got them at every single school I was at.
Oh, jeez.
And of course, it's my bus that I was driving.
Well, that's super fun.
You've already checked this bus.
Right.
Twice this week. So yeah, by the end of that week, I knew them all. But again, that's different because we knew we were driving buses that were safe and
Sure.
Right.
nothing was falling off them or dangerous or anything. So it wasn't a big deal if they showed up, unless your logbook wasn't filled out, and
Then that's an issue.
people were scrambling.
Yes.
And
So-
tires were good. You're not pulling. I know of some guys that have commercial vehicles here in town, and they've struggled before with, tires and weight, and it's a very interesting nuance to it. I mean, right? They're doing an important job, and ideally, they're keeping unsafe vehicles off the road.
Yeah. Again, like with the buses, we didn't have a lot of those issues because
You ran with a
good
company.
Good
Right.
company in a tight ship, and they fixed what needed to be fixed. And the worst we'd get was like a headlight out or something.
Something
But
minor, little, yeah.
It was probably fine when we left the yard,
Mm-hmm.
but the potholes in the area doesn't take much to blow a
That is true.
bulb or two.
Yep.
Learning stuff every day.
I'd hanging at the barbershop.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Did you find your word?
I might have.
What is it? Relegate?
That's a good word too. What was the word I was trying to?
Delegate,
No.
dictate.
It started with an R.
You said regulate. That's
Reliquate?
more like a temperature thing.
Okay, I looked up the D one, so it deferred.
Oh, defer.
Deferred.
I
I
think
will
maybe
defer to you.
Yes, right. He deferred from his contemporaries in ethical matters.
Cool.
Past tense, deferred, past I don't know what that word is either. I'd have to look that word up. Oh,
New game.
Some days I'm just not too smarticles. Oh dear.
Pick a word and what's it mean?
Yeah. There's a few words like that. Categories and
Mm-hmm.
Boulder Dash.
So we've all been out there on the roads, and we've all have multiple decades at this point of driving behind our belts, I guess, or under belts.
Mm-hmm.
What's the weirdest thing you've seen out there on the roads that wasn't, it didn't involve you, just weird stuff you've seen on the road? What do you think, Michelle?
I have tons of weird stuff happen to me. Normally people don't believe. I think the best had to be your mom.
Yeah, that's
You didn't
a good
see
start.
two people in a Tesla not holding the hand?
No, we
okay.
have.
They
we
weren't
have,
in a Tesla
we
when I saw
have
them.
seen that on the 401, though. We did drive by and see that on the 401.
I've got
Oh
I've
my.
got so many stories
Yeah.
of that.
No, so I don't know what was going. I had to write an exam, and somehow I locked myself out of my house. So
Okay.
Scott's mom came over and drove me to Peterborough so I could write my exam.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mama Kay.
Yeah. And I was so flustered, like I just. So on the way home, and Catherine was like, "You drive, Michelle." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm driving, and we're coming down County Road 10, Pigeon Lake.
Mm-hmm.
We're just about to turn onto County Road 10, and I back up, and I like brake, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
and Catherine's like, "Why are you braking?" I said, "Oh, because those chairs are going to come flying over the back of that truck."
Oh, God.
She's like,
Oh.
"Oh, no, they're not," because Catherine has the sweetheart and doesn't think
Right. Anything
fine.
bad's
Yeah.
going to happen.
No
Yeah.
one would have an unsecured load.
No.
It's fine.
No. So I'm like, well, I'm still not getting that close.
Yeah.
So I'm probably 5 or 6 car lengths back, and what do you know? Chairs come flying out of the back of the truck, and I just take her car around the mess and around the truck and
When
keep
you
on
say
driving.
when you say chairs, are we talking
Like bar stools,
Okay.
wooden oak bar
Nice.
stools. Yeah.
Mm.
What else have we had fly out of in front of us? Oh, the trailer when we were bringing Brandon to track and field.
That was cool. So,
Mhm.
little mom and pop
Excavating company.
excavating company. So he's got a trailer and a little bobcat on the back of the trailer.
Yep.
And he's got speed up and he's got a little bit of wobble through the back end. And
Speed wobble.
Oh.
And Michelle's like, back off. So it's like, yeah, I'll take my foot off, and we're watching it. And
I was a little more aggressive. I'm like, back off and get over a lane.
and he managed to put that trailer into about 10 feet of the median.
Oh wow.
Dust goes up, pulls it back. Did he actually manage to do it 360 with
He
the
did,
truck and
like,
trailer?
What?
360, it was facing the other way, and it was jackknifed completely.
And everybody around him managed to, didn't
avoid
hit,
it?
Yes, didn't hit anybody
He
else.
had that much of
Oh,
a
boy.
sway beforehand.
And everyone's like, he's going to go.
Yeah. Bobcat did not come off the trailer.
That's crazy.
But-
So
right.
as we're going around it, all of a sudden, what were you listening to? 102?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
usually.
And yeah, there's been an accident as we're driving by. It's being reported. And
No
Oh
shit,
my.
Sherlock.
Q107 chopper traffic.
Yeah, I think
the kids thought that was hilarious. They're like, and Brandon the most. He's like, how did you know that was going to happen? I'm like, just trust me.
yeah. I think one of my funnest stories is coming home from Lindsay, living in Bobcaygeon, and opt to actually go home through Fenland and crash at my parents' place. And it's an ice storm, and it's just that drizzly rain, and it's freezing as soon as it hits the asphalt. And
Never fun.
no, and I would never tell you that there's an incline coming into Cameron from Lindsay.
Driving north?
Yes.
Sure there is, yeah.
Yes.
It's very gentle.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
But I would, right? And as I say, at that time at 23, 24,
Oh, yeah.
I would never have told you there was an incline there. So finally get by, and when you catch up with the sander, right?
Yeah.
So the sander's not going that fast. So I'm staying back. And then I watch him slide
No way.
into onto the shoulder and then
Yeah.
into the ditch.
Yeah.
And you know how sometimes when you watch it and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. And I almost, right? And
You
I
almost
Right.
follow them in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank God I kept my vehicle on just the shoulder. I never got to the ditch. And then you watch in your rearview mirror and the guy behind you is doing the same thing. It's like,
man.
oh my gosh. So, right, straighten it out.
Yep.
And I drove from Cameron to Fenland, one wheel on the shoulder.
Yep.
Keep traction.
Because the shoulder was still softer than the
Snow
road.
covered.
It was still at the point where the snow hadn't stayed.
Right.
So the shoulder was soft enough that
Oh, yeah.
you could
Yeah,
crush
yeah.
through the ice on
Mhm.
it, but not on the asphalt,
Interesting.
and crawled home.
That's
Oh,
some
boy.
scary stuff.
Yeah. And then that experience, I used to go visit Michelle at her residence when she was going to Humber.
Yes.
And you'd get back on the 401 right there by the Labatt's factory.
Eglinton?
And I pull on, and it's kind of slow traffic, and there's 2 street bikes ahead of me, and they keep standing up on their pegs
Oh, boy.
Oh.
and looking into this car ahead of us.
Uh-huh.
And the guy is driving, and the girl is sort of leaning up against the door, one leg into the back seat, one leg up on the dash. And man, they went at it from Eglinton all the way to the 115 cutoff.
Nobody passed that car.
Right? And everyone was
Wow.
sort of there. If they sped up, everybody sped up. And this is kind of before cell phones. So, I mean, right? You just got to take my word that it happened. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
flabbergasted. And these guys on the bikes probably had the best view because they could get up beside them.
Yeah.
and above them, and then the odd tractor trailer. Yeah, and I mean, that girl had stamina, and that guy must have had fingers of... Because, yeah,
He had the Midas touch.
Yeah, he did a lot. He did a lot for his lady.
I've never seen people having sex on the road. I think the weirdest thing I've seen was I've seen some really odd things, like, again, in the make your head spin kind of way, driving down the 404, going into Toronto for when I was recruiting for the Army, and I was going for an appointment at the recruiting center, and car ahead of me I'm in the left-hand lane, guy's in the right-hand lane, and he's kind of weaving a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to be behind this guy. So as I go around him, and I kind of look over, and he is literally reading a book while he's driving. So I don't know if it's like a student who's like, I got to get the reading in before I get there, or I didn't do the reading last night, or something. Certainly I can't imagine you wouldn't read a book for your own entertainment and drive your car. But yeah, so reading a book was definitely up there.
Wow.
And then Kim and I were on the road same day. I got pictures of it somewhere. You took the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
We saw, was it the guy first or the girl?
I don't know, but the guy was shaving.
Yeah.
Shaving, driving down the 401.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shaving, a lot of makeup application.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I guess it comes down to time, right? And if you're that busy that you need a little extra, or...
Well, I have to admit, I lived in Ajax and I worked in Oshawa. I may or may not have done some makeup on the way to work.
Right. A little blush, little lipsticks, easy.
Mascara.
You were still doing makeup when we got together.
I couldn't imagine doing...
You say that, I don't
You're
think
lucky
so.
you have 2 eyeballs left. Like, right? Could you imagine? Like, you've got that
if
brush,
it got in, holy cow.
you're teasing it, and then, like, if you hit the bump or you swerved, like, right? Those brushes are meant to maximize
volume.
You'd have volumized your eyeball.
Yeah. And I mean, right? It doesn't feel good when it gets in there.
No, but I
You ever
never had that.
Have you ever had mascara in your eye there, Wes?
No, I have not. But I've had a finger or two in there.
I could see you with mascara. Could you not imagine? We should do him up one
Isn't
day.
there a picture of you as Twisted Sister
Yeah, there is.
wearing mascara and makeup
there
and
absolutely
everything?
Oh, so
is,
you
yeah.
have had mascara on.
I've worn mascara.
But not in your eye.
I've worn mascara and I've worn eyeshadow as part of a
Lipstick,
costume.
blush.
Yeah, the full bit.
Yeah.
I Dee Snidered a costume party once that I threw. Yeah, so big blonde wig, pink feather boa, the whole bit, tights. It was pretty cool. I had a good time.
Tights!
Yeah. Because I wasn't going to take it
Anymore.
What do you want to do with your life? I want to rock. It was a lot of fun. Missed out on Halloween this year because of the whole COVID thing, which
the vid.
The vid, according to
Who's calling that?
that is according to
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart got the vid. Back when it was just 2 celebrities. Me and Tom Hanks had to keep my note as a secret. He's a bigger celebrity than I am. That was on Netflix, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, Kevin Hart. No fucks given.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
it's good.
I've seen the preview. He's talking about his wife, and I forget what the preview was, but his wife apparently rules that relationship.
He talked about a whole lot more than just his wife. Stuff that actually I kind of went, oh, I'm surprised he went there.
After his little incident, I can see her having a little bit more...
It's probably why the whole show was in his living room.
Well,
so she could keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Or a stage made
he
up
had
to
an
be.
indiscretion in his relationship.
Yeah.
And got caught, right? Video and tape and people, and it came out that he cheated.
It wasn't that
on
long
her.
ago either.
No.
And she stayed, and she's they just had the baby.
Oh,
They just had a new baby. But yeah, so he's kind of making a few jokes about it. And I even said to you, like, I'm surprised he's bringing that up.
Yeah.
I'm sure he vetted that with her.
I'm sure.
You know what, honey? It's like, right? I dipped down on I don't have the social media clout as I did before the incident. Maybe if we make light of it, we can.
Very possible.
Yeah.
We could salvage something out of this.
Right.
Yeah. It was good, though.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, I've never seen... Well, no, we did see him do that one stand-up special where he they stuck him in the buffet cart and wheeled him out. So that they could secretly wheel him through the crowd.
Because he's just a little guy.
He's just a little
in a buffet cart. So I thought...
Yeah.
Did I just cut you off?
No, I think we were just going to say the same
Were we going
thing.
to the same thing?
Yeah. Strange and bizarre traffic laws.
Yes, I thought in light of all of the discussion on driving, it'd be interesting to take a look at some of the weird traffic laws that are still on the books, but maybe not enforced. So,
Are you starting at number 1 or starting at number 9?
I don't know. I know that I was just going to kind of start at the top and kind of go through the ones that I thought were interesting. But
okay.
There's a bunch of these.
Well, number 1 on my list is very topical. What's number 1 on your list?
So, and this one's Ontario centric. So, everybody who's listening in Ontario, remember, if you're out there on the roads in Ontario with your horse-drawn sleigh, you must have at least 2 bells.
Oh, darn. I only had 1.
So, when your sleigh bells are ringing,
Gotta get a new one.
you better have them in both hands.
Does that count for the Mennonites and their horses and carriages?
I don't know.
Because they do not have bells.
No.
Well, you know what it's going to cost them if they get pulled over?
But that's a sleigh, not a wagon.
That's true. So if it is the sleigh and they get pulled over, it's a $5 fine.
And what, 6
Wow.
points?
$5. Yeah, really.
In pound.
Don't got to have a driver's license, but do got to have lights.
That's a rule?
Oh, yeah. On all the Mennonite wagons, they must have functional lights. And they got to have slow-moving vehicle signs.
I did know that,
Yeah.
So I like this one because I see it happen all the time.
Which one is this?
You can't drive on private property to dodge red lights.
Oh, my God.
And I see this
Oh.
all the time when there's like a gas station on the
Yep.
corner.
Mm-hmm.
When the old 7-Eleven on Lansdowne and Braley, and you'd see that
Sure.
right, and they just boom,
Mhm.
boom right
Yep.
through the
Mhm.
7-Eleven.
Fenland Falls, Texas Burgers, and the UPI.
Yeah, for sure.
It happens there all
Happens
the
all
time.
the
They're going to be surprised now when they run into that fence at the
Oh,
UPI.
my God. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's going to, like, anybody know what they're doing at that corner other
I
than
thought
ripping it out?
The laundry was staying, but I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard for sure.
Probably the only thing
They
that
fixed it up.
Probably the only thing in that business is making money is the laundry.
Yeah.
In all the years that I remember it was a big deal. It was a solar-powered laundry. Never been in there.
No, that's the one on...
Is that the one downtown?
Downtown.
They switched to solar?
A while ago.
Yeah.
Like, first one in Ontario.
Tells you how much I know.
Yeah, Finley, I think. He was very proud of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's good, right? It's conscientious. And I mean, right, that would be probably the outlying cost. But I
Yep.
mean, what he would have recouped over the years is probably more than paid for it.
I guess so. How about another one from Ontario? How about the double solid line? I know this is one that gets people all the time.
Just a suggestion?
It is just a suggestion. It is no basis in. It's not a law per se that you cannot pass on a double solid
Mhm.
in Ontario.
Thank
I did know
you.
It's
Yeah.
just not recommended.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You still
I
get.
I feel like there's less dotted lines around now.
There are, especially in our area. I noticed a lot of stuff that was dotted has been changed to
Right.
either single or double solid.
Right? And it's like, fuck it, I'm still passing.
Oh my God, yeah.
Driving Miss Daisy here.
That's not me.
Are you talking about when I'm a passenger in your car? Because that sounds about right.
When you're a passenger in my car?
Sure.
Do you want to be Miss Daisy?
Well, we both drive about the same speed, so
Yeah.
I guess it's
Not really.
equally applicable.
I'm saying usually when I'm passing somebody, and I mean, I don't drive fast, so I mean, if you're getting passed, you're slow.
Yeah, I don't pass a lot of people either, to be honest with you. It's just not my style.
I pass a lot of
It's
people.
not my speed.
You don't want to be behind
I
anyone.
don't want to be
Oh,
behind
so
people.
the problem is, right, is heaven forbid you pass her or you like cut in front of her, and then if you can't corner, she's such a bitch.
I'm sorry, if you're going to pass me,
Oh.
whatever speed I'm doing,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I do
yeah.
in corners. So
Right?
you better be able to
you
do
can
it.
get to 110 on the straight stretches. Can you do 110 through that corner? Because I'm going to do 110 and push you through. Come on, fucker. Get going.
I'm the type of guy, though, that if I'm getting pushed, like, I don't intimidate anymore. I'm at the point in my life where it's like, yep, you can ride up on my bumper as much as you want and eat my trailer hitch because I'm probably taller than you are.
If you ride on my butt, I go slower.
Well, this is it. Like, and that's what I tell.
But
we've
you
had
wouldn't
this.
pass somebody that was already doing 110 to
No.
slow
No,
down
I
to do
wouldn't.
90.
No, I
No,
wouldn't.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that for sure.
That's irritating. Or I love the people that pass you and then brake at the next driveway
Oh,
or
yeah,
the
yeah.
next
Right.
road. Like,
I had that this
I'm like,
This
what was
morning.
the point
I
of
got to
all
pass
of
you, but I'm
this?
pulling over
Yeah.
in 200 meters.
I had a guy like pass me at Emily Park this morning.
Yep.
And then we both get to the red light at the same time.
Of course
Exactly.
you did. Of
And
course
then
you did.
he hauls it off the green.
Heading over, up the whoop-de-whoops there to, whatchamacallit?
Just to Fowler's Corners.
Sure.
way.
Oh, okay. He's making a
And
left.
stopped at his workplace on the big hill, left-hand side.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm like, oh, he must have been running late to work.
Yeah.
And I gave him a little beep, beep, just to let him know. I'm like, yeah.
That happened to me when I was doing a delivery, when I still worked for the dealership. I was coming the other way. I was coming westbound Highway 7 to make the right-hand turn at Emily Park to go down to, where the stop sign is. There's that farm on the right-hand side with the big steel outbuildings. So the guy that lives there runs a mechanic shop out of that building. So I'm delivering parts there. And there's this guy following me down Highway 7, and he is pushing as hard as he can go, and I'm just not having any of it. Oh, he was coming up, where the lanes merge?
Yep.
He was coming ripping. And like, he's just not going to get there. He's not going to get there. So I pull over into the lane, merge with the lane. I can see him literally seething in the mirror. He's just like,
Dirty Turkish hark back flat and Morton, Philip Bunker Martin,
you can see this guy's getting agitated, and I'm like, I'm just gonna set her for 80. And that's what I saw. And he can't, there's not enough break in traffic for him to get around. And then finally, when we do hit the split and I go to merge onto the Emily Park Road there, he goes whipping by and the light turns red and he's going to stop anyway. So I just look out my window. At this time, the van at the dealership, it had no markings on it. It was just a plain white van. So he had no idea of who I was. I just looked over him and I gave him the tee and he's looking and he's mad, right? And I'm just like, oh, I don't care, buddy.
I would love to see him go into that business after you, because it's Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
Mark don't take no shit.
At the garage?
At that garage.
Mark Mitchell.
He's a big guy.
He is a big guy.
And he's got a pretty serious face.
But he's super, super nice.
Well, you don't know that.
No, I
And
guess.
he doesn't let people know
And
that.
it's always
unless he
funny too,
likes
because
you.
we know Tanya from high school. So I
Sure.
always, when they come in at work, I'm always like, hey, Tanya. And the first couple times, you just see him like looking at you, like, why are you talking to my wife?
But he was there by himself when I went in, and I don't remember what he was delivering. It was delivering parts anyway for whatever he was working on. And he pays cash, and he like literally pulls out like a bigger roll of cash than what is humanly necessary to be kept on any one person without security. Anyway.
Right.
But yeah, super nice. Hey man, how are you? And I'm like, I'm the new guy. Get used to seeing me around. It was the only delivery I ever made there at the time I worked there. But yeah.
And now he's making his millions selling wood into Emily Park
at $10 a bag.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a kid project, and
I'm sure I've seen the kids out there with the tractor
loading
the trailer.
It's good
yeah.
for them. And
Yeah.
you know what really sucks that he had to put closed caption television to keep people honest.
Oh, really?
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, you're stealing from kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, right, I guess if you're drunk over at Emily Park and you're on a little walk on the highway. Yeah. So, this is a Prince Edward Island one. But,
yeah, let's have it, because I really like this one.
Honk before passing in PEI.
That's the same as Jamaica.
Well, you know what? I think once you get out of Canada,
Out of North America.
there's a lot of honking when you approach or pass, or it's just to let people
The
know
honking
that,
etiquette, the international honking etiquette is way different than the North American honking etiquette, where we tend to be more like use it as a weapon. It's more of an informational
Like an FU.
thing. We do, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
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 Laying right on it. But anywhere else, like, look at all the times in Cuba, we rented a taxi and everything that he did. Toot, toot.
yeah, no,
And they all wave at each other.
yeah.
Hey,
And then,
thank
like, if you watch any television when they're
Yeah.
over in like Thailand or anywhere over there, I mean, it's just a non-stop
Courtesy.
symphony of horns.
Yeah.
Because everyone's
yeah.
letting you know, I'm here.
Mhm,
Don't come
mhm.
this way. So in PEI, drivers are technically supposed to honk before passing other vehicles, but don't worry, most people don't bother with it. And chances are you won't be given a citation if you don't abide. So Canadian, right? We get off with a smile and a sorry, basically.
Yeah. How about this one? Here's one for you. This one comes from Nova Scotia in Halifax. I'm guessing this is probably it's a bylaw. Halifax taxi drivers cannot wear a t-shirt when they are on duty. Yeah. Must wear shoes and socks, keep their clothing in clean conditions at all times, and refrain from wearing a t-shirt.
Well, here, I've got a question.
Yeah.
Is it the law that you need to be wearing footwear?
I always thought it was.
I think my parents used to tell me that you had to have shoes.
Yeah.
Like if you got out of your car,
I would certainly say,
and the police would write you a ticket because you came out of the car barefoot.
As a driving instructor, I would tell you to wear shoes, and I would tell you to wear shoes that are closed-toed, because flip-flops and sandals and stuff that can fall off your feet are just not the ideal footwear for driving, but I don't know what the law says on that.
So if you know the answer to that,
yeah, hit us up. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, give us a little shout on the Facebook page. Now this one will break your heart because it, being a little bit of a sci-fi guy that you are.
Listen, we went to the same high school. Like, I remember watching people do this in the wintertime just on their on their feet.
Right. So don't hold on to a moving vehicle on the highway. So poor Marty McFly on his skateboard.
Poor Marty.
Not in Canada.
And I mean, this one's out of Saskatchewan, so I mean, you could conceivably do that for like hundreds of kilometers.
Yeah.
They still do.
You know what though? And I've seen some awesome videos. GT snow racers getting pulled behind 4x4s
sure.
or quads or snowmobiles, tubing behind. I mean, there's just some fun to be had behind a motorized vehicle.
Well, this is just as an aside from the weird traffic laws. Like, I don't know about you, but like growing up where we grew up and learning how to drive, my first car was an 83 Chevette, but it was rear wheel drive. And I can remember bombing around in the middle of the winter, in Fenland, and an empty parking lot was like an invitation to do donuts and just kind of drift the car around. But on some level, you can't tell me that wasn't, good for one, confidence building, and two, skills.
Did you see that Facebook post the other day?
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. Just stop calling on kids doing donuts because they're learning defensive driving skills and how to handle their car in the snow and the ice.
There is some wisdom in that. Now, and as a 40-something and a small business owner, if you're doing that in my parking lot, get the fuck out.
Right, exactly.
Your parking lot's not big enough.
No,
my God. Go to the mall.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I had a thought.
What's that?
And I lost it.
Oh.
Doesn't matter.
Here's one from British Columbia. In British Columbia, the BC Motor Vehicle Act restricts drivers from going downhill while coasting with the gears of the vehicle in neutral or having the clutch disengaged. Kind of makes sense when you're talking about mountainous terrain, though. You want the transmission to actually be actively keeping the vehicle in check, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right, Michelle.
Seems safe.
Right? Engaged. Have we told that story on air about Michelle and being the clutch queen?
Clutch queen.
I don't believe so. That was a pretty impressive item.
Is this a for now, or is this a hold till later? What is this?
Oh, it could be now. It's a driving story.
Is this a story for you to tell or for Michelle to tell?
I think it's my story.
I think it's a story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's funny because we've talked about this on previous episodes, and I think we've talked about just, growing up in comfort and coming into driving vehicles. And some people are car people and drivers, and some people are not. Some people are passengers and are nervous. And I've definitely been a nervous learner. I mean, right, I had to renew my 365. So, I mean,
oh, wow.
Yeah, right, because you had that sucker for 360. That's a year.
That's right, yeah.
That's a year. I didn't need to renew it. My mother bought me private driving lessons.
Cool.
Because I made her a little nervous. But, right, I think I actually got my license on the first try.
First time around.
Very good.
It just took me a long time to build up that confidence, which is pretty spot on.
You didn't have to go to Minden to do it, or
no.
Bancroft.
Lindsay went to Lindsay, and just right, as a town kid, and never touching a snowmobile, a 4x4, or any kind of recreational vehicles.
Sure.
Just no mindset of how a vehicle worked, or turning radius, or mirrors, or any of it. None of it.
So you might as well have been flying the space shuttle then.
I might as well have. It'd be like, hit this button to launch. So anyway, and I was probably still a little bit of a nervous driver when I had met Michelle.
Okay, fair enough.
Right. And she may after this story critique my driving and my cornering.
Judging
skills.
by the look I just got,
Yeah.
that's a big affirmative, buds.
Still.
Fuck.
So anyway, so my parents bought a little Honda Civic,
Cool.
manual transmission. Yeah, I was going to say automatic. No, manual transmission. So really struggled with it, but I mean, right, you grind those gears and stall it out all over the place. And Michelle was really good. They had a nice long driveway and kind of a 3-point turn spot. So we spent a lot of time when I go over there and stall out in her driveway and then
Cool.
go in for a visit. And
Are we talking your mom's
Yeah.
place
Yeah.
now? Oh, okay. Yeah, I know
It's
exactly what
great-
you're talking about. Yeah.
It's a great learning drive.
For sure, for sure.
So, right. So she'd just get into the car with me and I felt confident when she was with me. And she's like, right. And she's like, you know what? You're just going to put the clutch in. You're going to slide it down into reverse. And then,
Yep.
you're going to gas and let it off. And then you're going to drop back up. And then we're going to drive forward. And then we're going to do a 3-point turn. So, right, really built my confidence with driving with her.
Yep.
She's very good at teaching and instructing and really boosted my confidence most days.
Yeah. Oh,
Most days.
Most days. So then we proceed to go to a dance at the Armories in Lindsay.
was that the 105 dance?
No,
That was a
I don't-
105.
Was it a
dance.
105er? Must
Yeah.
have been why it was so good because I got so drunk. So it was always sort of that nuance of, you can have a couple drinks and then, you need to stop because you need to drive. Well, I must have thought that was just a suggestion. And,
It's double lines.
Yeah. yeah. Just a suggestion. So, you sort of pass, and we would go out and we go out with big groups of friends. So we wouldn't necessarily hang off of each other throughout the night. And, you're kind of passing or she's coming out of the bathroom as you're going into the bathroom. You're like, how many drinks have you had? And she's like,
Yeah.
I've had like 2. I'm like, I'm at 6. You're driving home.
Oh, boy.
And right? So we proceed to have a great time. It's time to go. They're shooing everybody out, right? The floors are sticky. And we get out to the car. And she's like, I can't drive home.
No, we weren't at the car. We were still in there waiting for people to come out of the bathroom.
Okay. And she's like, I can't drive home. And I'm like, why not? She's like, I can't drive standard. And I just, right?
You taught him how to drive standard.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you. And
I've
right,
never actually driven a standard
And
car.
Got all the theory down.
Yes. So I'm a pretty meek and mild guy. At least I think I am. And I lose my bananas. And I'm like, God damn it, woman. You taught me how to drive. And you get into that car and you do what you said and you get my drunk ass home.
I think your exact words were, get your scrawny ass behind the wheel and drive me home.
Maybe.
So,
And, right? As it's a 105er,
Mhm.
there's cops on duty.
Of course there is.
And
yeah,
they
yeah.
kind of step up and they're like, is everything okay? And Michelle kind of hangs her head. And she's like, yeah, he's right.
guess I'm driving him home.
What's the word? What is it? If you can't make it, fake it.
So, and I think for the rest of that summer, we called Michelle the Coast Queen because if there was a red light, she would coast to that until it turned green and then right up off the clutch. So she never really had to worry about being in first or coming out of a full stop.
Wow.
And she got us home that night.
That's good.
Very good.
So-
With
Yeah.
the cop following me because he was convinced that, and all our friends, because Scott doesn't,
No.
he doesn't yell, he doesn't get angry. He was mad at me. And there was nothing I could do because I knew I was I'm like, yep,
It is a
I did.
it's a skill that even in professional circles, I mean, certainly it's not as big here in North America, but even in Europe, the trucking industry is even moving away from it. You see a lot of automatic trucks in Europe. So, hey, if you can drive a manual transmission, you are part of
Apparently I can.
a dying
Well
breed.
done.
Yeah, so I think I
Yep.
drove his Civic maybe 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody asked and said, can you drive standard? I'd say no.
Mm-hmm.
No, I cannot.
Hey, while we're talking about driving, I just want to throw a shout out to our friend Brian. Congratulations, Brian, on bribing your way out of a Mexican traffic stop.
Oh, dear God. Yeah. Brian's taking some time to travel the world and apparently got bad advice from his
The
rental
rental
car
company.
company
You don't need plates here.
Yeah, and got pulled over, and lo and behold, you do. And his suggestion from the rental company was
500 pesos.
give them 500 pesos. It'll all go away.
Oh boy.
So yeah, he's not in the Mexican gulag. So
Brian, if you're listening to this, I want to know, there was some talk about of raining wrath upon the rental company. I'd like to know the resolution of that if you want to reach out and talk to us. That'd be kind of fun.
all bluster,
Where are we
no
at here
blow,
now?
is my opinion.
Oh, hey, look at number 8.
Go ahead, Wes.
Number 8, apparently. Now, where does this one come from? It doesn't actually say. Somewhere in Canada.
Nova
So-
Scotia.
Oh, in Nova Scotia, driving barefoot is completely legal.
The myth.
Yeah.
So my mama was wrong.
There is no law that dictates you cannot be barefoot. Behind the wheel, the world is yours when it comes to footwear, or lack of it. Barefoot flip-flops, those weird-looking toe shoes, you name it. But still, like, I mean, I think if you're gonna wear flip-flops, you might as well be barefoot. And like I say,
If that flip flop falls and then gets stuck underneath
Yeah.
the accelerator or the brake,
What are you doing with your foot to make your flip flop fall off?
playing with it,
if you're like, so here's the thing, and
get cruise control on.
Kim can attest to this. The first time I wore toe sandals, how many times did I throw a sandal?
Well, you couldn't walk in them
I
either.
didn't know how to wear them. I didn't
Well,
have the natural.
maybe-
It was very fun to watch.
Maybe you're not a human being and call them toe sandals. What the fuck is a toe sandal?
You know the thing that goes between your big toe?
a thong?
Sandal.
That's the thing that goes between your butt cheeks.
No, it's the
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
The flip flop?
A toe sandal? What kind of freak job are you?
In the Army, we called them shower sandals, so
Well,
you didn't get the athletes from them, you know?
right? You would have been better to call it a shower shoe.
Okay, so
But
when I
shower
first
shoes,
wore...
but let's be honest, shower shoes
Yeah.
are slides.
What the hell? Where is this coming from?
Normal human beings.
I didn't know that.
Because no one's going to wear a flip-flop unless it's like
there you go.
completely synthetic.
50% of the room didn't know that. Are they, Michelle?
50% did.
Damn it.
Nice. High five.
All right, another question for the listeners. When you're traveling internationally or you're traveling and you've got to use a public shower, the shoes that you wear on your feet in the shower, what do you call them? Let us know. What's next, Scott? Anything?
Toe sandals.
Because that's what they are. They go between your
Oh,
toes.
shit. Oh, this is the first time I've lost control.
Don't worry, buddy. I got you covered.
Keep going. Keep going.
Breathe through it.
Oh, I got the tears. I can't read.
Boy, it's a good thing we haven't moved on to video yet.
This would be great.
Oh. You can't furiously race animals on the highway. It's pretty hard to write about Canada's weirdest driving laws without talking about Ontario a lot. But there definitely takes the cake. Section 173 of the Ontario Highway Traffic Act strictly asserts that no person shall race or drive furiously any horse or other animal on the highway. Somewhere out there's writers of Fast and Furious franchise have just been inspired. I was just going to say that. I'm like, man, that they actually put furious in the in the law before the movie franchise was out.
Amish and Furious.
Oh my gosh. My face is damp. Oh my goodness.
You got to imagine, again, so this goes back to like laws on the books that are like rarely enforced, right?
Oh, right, that are probably 50 or 75 years out of date. When's the last time that you saw, other than around here in St. Jacobs,
Yeah.
a horse-drawn vehicle of any
No,
sort,
you're
right?
right. You're right.
And
I mean, they still have the mounted. We actually passed the Toronto police, their mounted unit. They were moving some horses when we were in the city the other day, and we passed one of their trailers. So they still do mounted patrols in the downtown where it's the traffic congestion is just easier to get around on a horse.
Oh, that too. And I think there's still something said about breaking the will of protesters on...
Oh, with the mounted unit?
Oh,
That's pretty intimidating.
Yeah,
It's super intimidating.
Yeah, right? Because, that animal is It just has presence and it has weight behind it.
It would kill me.
Right? And you don't like horses.
I don't like horses.
No, to start with.
I cannot imagine being in a situation in the history of human evolution where you as a footman or a lancer standing on the ground are facing down a mounted charge. I just, that terrifies me, the thought of it. No.
I mean, if you even think about how it works in like popular video games.
Oh, big time.
Right? It's just that nuance of, cavalry's better against infantry and archery's better than, it's that was the evolution of war, right?
We still talk about cavalry in the modern sense. You know what the modern cavalry is?
Whatever they call those fancy
Tanks.
armored vehicles. Yeah.
Tanks. Tanks are cavalry now. Yeah. Where are we at here? Oh, look at that. We've come to the end of our article. So that's an interesting. So I actually poked around. I looked at a couple other ones and they were more of an international flair, but they weren't as fun as this one. But I will give you one more that I read. And this one goes back to our Tesla story. If that couple was in Tesla and they were parked in the state of Idaho, they would have had the courtesy of horn honking and light flashing from the state police for 3 minutes before the state police would have approached the car to say, "Hey, what's going on in here?"
Oh, so they give
gives
you that
them time to
prepare
and
you get a 3-minute courtesy with just lights and honking to let you know that the police are coming over to talk to you. Yeah.
I mean, it's I think that's still a good law to enact. And I mean, right, there's a certain time that, Back to the Future, right? If Biff had parked somewhere other than the school parking lot, I would hope that the Idaho police would have come and checked on them and stopped that.
Hopefully.
Yes, that's right.
Exactly, right?
Because no means no.
Correct.
Well, on that note, my friends, I think
that's another serious note that we're ending on again.
Well, damn it, we can't end it on this.
I know. We'll just edit in my laugh again.
Toe sandals, toe sandals, toe sandals. Toe sandals.
Because that's what they are. They go between your toes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Let's just slide on out then.
All right. Hey, have a great day.
You have a great day, too.
And thanks, man.
You too. And ladies.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming back
You're
and
welcome.
wanting to sit with us and actually talk to us in a forum where we can't run away.
Okay. Who knew? I do now.
Now we're going to go home and talk a whole lot more about what just happened. All right, guys. It's been a blast, and we'll talk to everybody soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye for now. Hey, thanks for hanging with us at the Barbershop. You can find us on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Please like and share us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter to stay up to date on all of our shenanigans. Hangin' at the Barbershop is a Sawcast production.